And if you have any questions, I'm willing to take them, if anyone has any. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
It was stated that the sequels to it weren't supposed to have Michael Myers. Each one is supposed to be different, like Halloween 3.
Yeah.
Do you think that would have been better if it went like that, or do you think by keeping Myers in, they built up the character?
You know, the franchise is what it is. You know, I mean, basically, you don't even see Michael on screen for 15 minutes in this movie. You see the station wagon, you see the haunted house, and you see 3 haunted houses, by the way. You see shadows, and you hear music, and you hear tone, and you feel it, but you don't see a lot of Michael, you know? They decided later on, they want to see Michael, you know? But this movie's more about, it's a ghost story. You don't really see the ghost. I mean, it takes Laurie Strode 1 minute to walk across the street from the Doyle house to the Wallace house. That's the longest walk across the street in movie history. I believe it was in the Village Voice. Someone stated, John Carpenter stretches the shower scene from Psycho to the absolute limit. 1 minute to walk across the street, 5 minutes for her to actually open the door to the Wallace house bedroom. On edge, on tension the whole time. That music just underplaying, dragging you along, pulling you along, leading you just under the edge of your subconscious. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, just wondering, I know people always speculated and talked about it.
Yes, sir.
Why Michael never went after you. And I always thought...
Because John did that in Assault on Precinct 13 when Kim Richards got shot.
Yeah.
And it had a bad reaction.
But the other thing I was thinking about, too, was the way you looked when you were a kid looks a lot like Michael when he was younger, too. So maybe seeing him being bullied kind of reminded him of something. I don't know. It was just always a random...
You know, that's one of those content things.
Yeah.
You know? That's not... it's one of those interesting things that you can play around with in your head. But like I said earlier, the idea... And you can read about this in Poe's Philosophy of Composition. The idea is we want to create a certain effect in the audience. We want you to feel certain things. We want to take you on a ride. We want to take you on a roller coaster, a fun house. This is a fun house. I've often thought of it, if you take the horror scenes out, it's kind of like Wallflower without a cause. You know, you see the transition from Laurie Strode. We start out in Haddonfield, which is all America town. Picket fences. By the end, you know, we find out that the universe may not be as ordered as we would imagine it to be. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
When did you realize that it was, when it got from just a movie to something where it's now part of the...
Okay, when the movie came out, I mean, it really hit overnight, no matter what people say. It seems to actually hit overnight, because I remember going to a cinema in Northridge. Those were my own clothes, by the way. I was wearing the red jacket, and I said, Mom, we gotta go see Halloween. It's playing over in Northridge. So we go over there, and I run out of the car, and I'm running over into the theater lobby, and these 2 girls are walking out, and they go, "You're the little boy!" That's when I knew there was something special, you know? Anyone else? Come on, you must have some. Yes?
How famous were you like that year after?
That was a good year for me. That was a very good year for me. After this movie came out, I had the privilege of doing an 11-week shoot in the Great Santini with Robert Duvall and Blythe Danner in South Carolina. So this really helped my career for a little bit of a while, you know. It got me recognizable. In junior high school, people would come up to me and they'd say, "How come there was no Michael in part 3? I'm like, "Why are you asking me?" And then Halloween 4 came out, and my friend says, "We got to go see it." I said, "Okay, let's go." And I go, "Look, there's a character on screen named Tommy." And he goes, "Dude, they just messed you over." And he's all like, "Oh, let's sit and watch it." I don't really watch I figure if I'm not in the movie, I'm not going to see it. Anyone else?
I have one more.
Go ahead. As many, you know.
What was you say that you were the first shot that...
Yeah, this was the first shot in the movie. I had never met Jamie Lee Curtis before. And I think we have a very good on-screen relationship. These people she looks like she's been babysitting him for a long time. The girls had never met before. There's no table rehearsal. According to P.J. Souls, they met once and all they talked about was hair. But you see that these were professional actors and actresses. You can see that coming on screen cold with this excellent dialogue written by John and Deborah. You feel that these people have known each other and they have been best friends. I love, one of my favorite scenes is when Annie drops little Lindsay Wallace off. It's just one long single take, tracking her to the kitchen where Laurie's carving the pumpkin. Laurie comes to the foreground. You see these two beautiful actresses just playing right off each other. And that was done in the first 4 days of shooting, mind you. She just pops the popcorn right in her mouth. You know, it's just that beautiful, wonderful moment. And then we watch Annie leave, and that's all one take. That's something I love about this movie. These great long takes. It's not like cut, cut, cut. Let's see if we can put two actors on screen for a minute, and let's see if they can hold our attention. You know?
What was Carpenter like?
Great. Carpenter was awesome. You know, basically he called me Tommy. I don't think he knew my real name. I don't think he knew my real name. I remember in this first scene when Laurie's walking away and she's singing the song, I Wish I Had You All Alone. And Deborah Hill walks over to John. And she goes, and in this point she's going to start singing Laurie's theme. And I'm getting really excited. And Deborah Hill looks at me and she goes, sorry kid, there's no Tommy's theme. Anybody else? Yes?
Could you talk about the audition process?
You know, this, I wish I could. My mom would know better. According to her, I went in, I read for the casting director, whoever it may have been, I don't know. And the casting director walks out with me and wants to meet my mother, which is a good sign. You know, when it's like, and child actors, basically, yeah. I went in, the casting director, maybe I had 2 auditions, maybe 3. I went in, the casting director liked me so much, she wanted to meet my mother. Okay? What was I saying a second ago? Child actors. First of all, they talk about before Brando and after Brando. In the horror realm, I like to talk about before Halloween and after Halloween. It's difficult when you're told, that's great, you're doing a great job, you're wonderful, everyone in the crew is laughing. It can get a little heady, you know? And it can make you start to feel, anyone can get involved in drugs, you know? But being a child actor can be difficult if you don't make the transition. It's a tough gig, but it can be a lot of fun. Anyone else? Am I boring you yet?
I was going to wonder, what do you think about...
Go ahead, say it.
Like in the first movie, how he's just this embodiment of evil, and he has really no motivation. And then in the
That's great.
The sequels they throw in, it's his sister, then it's his niece, then it's does it degrade the character a lot to you?
John Carpenter states, sequel means the same movie. That's what the audience wants to see. They want to see the same movie. Therefore, the official sequel to Halloween is the thing. Okay? I think Michael Moore is a primal force. You know, I like the idea of the Lovecraftian elder god. You know, I don't think of him as human at all. I think of him as a ghost. Okay?
Right.
Anybody on this side? Yes.
What did you think when you first saw the film?
I was scared. With the score? You know, I remember seeing, we saw the film, it was playing at the Directors Guild, and when the credits came on, every time someone's name came on the screen, there was just loud applause. You know, it was really deafening. My name came up, loud applause. Deborah Hill, John Carpenter, Donald Pleasance, loud applause. And then when we start seeing the actors, when Donald Pleasance appeared on the screen for the first time, at the premiere at the Directors Guild, loud applause. When Jamie Lee Curtis appears on the screen for the first time, just loud applause. I don't know if there was any applause when I appeared, but I assume there was. But at a certain point, even the audience at the Directors Guild got so involved with the movie, just like, oh my God. I brought a friend with me to see it, and his mother called my mother because he had nightmares that night. Anyone else?
Well, last thing I'll say to you is that was the first scary movie my mother ever saw.
Yeah.
And to this day, she still talks about how our dryer at her house was in the backyard. And to this day, she still says, I could not walk out to the dryer for like years in the trees.
I remember a young lady once said to me at a convention how after she saw the movie with her boyfriend, she went back home to get her sister because she had to drop her boyfriend off and she didn't want to drive home alone.
Right.
You know? I remember people actually looking under their cars. You know, this was you know, this was a phenomenon. This movie did repeat business. It had a re-release. It was shown on NBC. Have you seen the TV version?
Yes.
Yes. I love the fact that John came back to direct Donald just one more time. I really like that scene.
I do too.
You know? Anyone else? Yes.
What do you think of Rob Zombie's Halloween?
What?
What do you think of Rob Zombie's version of Halloween?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
It doesn't exist.
No such thing.
Rob? Okay, I'm playing with you. I like to usually say, what? Rob Zombie? What? I didn't hear it. No one told me. But basically, I saw it because Danielle was in it. And I've known Danielle Harris. I don't know her well. I've met her a few times. She's always been kind and generous to me. I think she's a very talented actress. I have my original screenplay. She's the only person who has signed my screenplay who is not part of the original cast and crew, because I think she has that much respect for the genre and for the fans. I went there and I said, you know, I'm going to walk out of this movie as soon as Danielle died. Okay, obviously that didn't happen. Actors need work. I'm never against an actor that needs work, but I think Rob basically was... I don't think he paid enough respect to the original screenplay that John and Deborah gave us. I mean, I can understand certain things, but I just don't think there was enough respect paid. I think there were some very good performances, and I think he got a little better in the second film, which I saw. But sometimes I think the franchise has not been handled as well as it could. I don't like that word franchise. Franchise is like McDonald's. You can buy a Big Mac anywhere in the United States, it's going to taste the same. You know, there's something different about this movie, especially the cinematography. Stephen King states, it's not the tale, it's he who tells it. But I think, no, he states, it's the tale, not he who tells it. But I think the person that tells the story is really important, and John tells he tells a much better story. He tells a great story. And like all John Carpenter movies, it's too damn short. It's just too short. Anybody else? Yes?
Do you still keep in touch with any of the cast members?
I wish. I need work. I need work. Looking directly into the camera. Not as much as I would like.
Yeah.
A few times a year we see each other. I get a few phone calls. It's like, and especially around this time of year. So what are you doing? You got a convention? Is there a showing? What can I do? I need some money. You know, so I do keep in touch with them like that, you know.
Yeah.
But we really have not, and I have had a chance to reestablish a somewhat of a friendship with John recently. Not really. I've had a chance to see him a few times. Great guy. Really a great guy. Yes?
Does he still call you Tommy?
Hey, he doesn't talk to me that much. You know, I mean, the last time I saw him, I was in Baltimore. And all of a sudden, I see a hand in front of me, I reach out to shake it, and it's, holy shit, it's John Carpenter. You know, I mean, he's not the 29-year-old kid anymore. Boy, genius, you know.